What's up, Rockstars? Welcome to a news video. We're going to be covering all of the awesome games that are either out right now or coming out that I'm looking at for crowdfunded board games. We got some new stuff to look at, some really cool looking stuff to look at. But first, a big shout out to my sponsor of today's video and the channel at large, Into the AM. Guys, they are having a $15 off graphic bundle sale. So the graphic tees that look great, just like this one, fit great, feel great. They're quality products. They're actually quite cheap, especially when you get them on sale like this. There's a 10% discount code. You can get 10% off even their sales. It'll work there for you. That is in the description down below and in the comments pinned. Go on and give them a take a look there. Real quick, just showing off, they do have a ritual tee. So if you're into some Halloween vibe, you can get that. They ship very quick, by the way, so you'll get that in time, I am sure. This world domination tree looks freaking sweet. I love that. The Final Wish tee's already great, of course. Hyperspeed looks great. Heart of the Wild, like guys, there are so many great shirts that are coming out every single day, it seems like. Just a ton. Go ahead and check that out. Link in the description below. Let's dive into the games now. Terraforming Mars, the dice game. This one is fun. I've not covered it before. $230,000 raised from 5,700 backers. And with how crowdfunding is right now, that's actually quite good. It's getting kind of hard to really get funded right now. I think it's kind of like the calm before the storm, which we're going to be talking about towards the end of the video and show about what's coming up, right? But with this one, it's just kind of, it reminds me of like Bang the Dice game, where it's like, let's take Terraforming Mars and make it a dice game, and by making a dice game, let's make it cheaper, let's make it smaller, let's make it quicker, let's make it simpler, right? And that's kind of the goal here. It's super streamlined. You just roll dice, you get 3 different options on like rarity of resources. You're essentially building up your engine, and then there are one of 3 ways the game's over, and hopefully you win, right? That's kind of the idea here. It includes solo mode. The price, $35. I mean, literally, and that's what's on offer here. That's it. So it actually looks pretty darn nice. This, again, especially for $35, it's a great deal. They're unlocking these promo cards. Nothing here is exclusive though. Promo cards will be available outside of the Kickstarter campaign, but in a variety of ways depending on how you get them. So they're kind of leaving that open-ended. Otherwise, you get some card sleeves, and that's really it. So yeah, super cool to see this. Again, I'll link to this and everything else down below. You can take a look at that, see if it's something for you. All right, next up we have Tainted, Grail, Kings of RONE. This one I have covered a few times now. $2.3 million and still 17 days left. They're going to be having another stretch goal here soon. The one thing that they've really added since I've shown you is this guy right here, this Elgin the Candlemaster, who looks super cool, by the way, at least in the art. Now, one thing I would caution is that the miniature will not look like this. This is not realistic. So Awaken Realms and also Ludus Madness Studio do this. I actually spoke with the art director once of Ludus Madness Studio about this, because they always made art that wasn't going, like there was cavities and stuff. It just wasn't possible. Like these little tiny chains, right, that are holding these things up. Obviously, they're going to be much thicker, even in ABS. That's not realistic. Plus all the little tiny spikes and stuff like that. It's just very much not a miniature, right? This is a miniature base with an art on it, and it's not designed with a miniature in mind. And I asked them about that, and Ludus Madness Studio said, well, we don't want to limit our artists on what's actually possible, so we just have them, make whatever art they want, which is theoretically great, except you're not selling the art. You're selling, you're selling the art in that's what you're showing people, but it's not actually going to be that way. They would actually do renders instead of the art, but just realize that you're not getting that. I just don't want any of you guys to go in and assume, oh my gosh, the miniature's gonna look like this. It's not. It's not. You already see the changes in a lot of the minis when it comes to the art. I'll point it out real quick for you, just so you can know what I'm talking about. Like here you see on his his mustache how skinny it is, and then obviously how thick it is here. It's a completely different mustache. And even his hair changed, right? He has all these little strands, and a little bit goes to a big one. No, it's just gonna have kind of the side, because again, it's just this little miniature that you're trying to design here. This checkerboard stuff here, they didn't even do on his sleeve. They just, nope, we're not doing that. And instead they put the stitching here, which isn't really there. So they don't match. Look at this stuff in the back here. Do you see this? the different items here, he has two big old swords that are like clasped together, because that's what the miniature needs to be, a miniature. But the art doesn't care about that. The art is not representative of its final form. And so when you only see art, just know that. I mean, even the renders are going to be changed, but like the art is borderline like not even like it's like, I guess they're both dwarves. I mean, they're not wearing the same shirt. They're not have the same backpack. The look at these little things dangling there. Nope, those are gone too, right? I mean, it's just constantly they're going to be doing that, changing what you're actually getting, right? Same here, right? These spikes here turned into this little bit here, and the mask and that fine detail here is all gone for the most part there. And then they changed that completely to like some webbing material there. So again, there's going to be a big difference, right? His little tiny candles turn into these giant thick candles because again, it's a miniature, it needs to be thicker. Can't have those tiny little things going on, right? He's also holding his staff in the other arm. So I don't know what's going on there, but whatever. Needless to say, it's going to change a lot. So just keep that in mind. Otherwise, though, I mean, I think it's looking great, and that's some freaking sweet art too. It just doesn't reflect what you're buying, so just know that. But yeah, doing very well, 12,200 backers and continuing to climb. And again, 17 days left to go. It's going to just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger as they unlock more and show off more and more and more. RONE Invasion, I showed this off earlier. This is the one where you screw in little screws with a little screwdriver into dice. They're actually like a resource you use to like pay for stuff and whatnot. Actually looks like a pretty cool game. They're investing in their IP. They've had this RONE Invasion stuff for a while, this RONE kind of world for a while now. That being said, 31,000 raised, 58,000 is the goal. That's definitely bigger than anything they've done before. They've done little card games before that. And this, it reminds me a little bit of Kingdom Come Deliverance, and that it's like suddenly they need to do twice as big as they've ever done before as a company. And that just seems like such a big leap. I understand companies like creating card games, just like Kingdom Come Deliverance did, right? And then going like, okay, now we want to go all in on like a board game style kind of stuff, right? Or a much heftier package. I just hope and pray that they didn't put their company on the line here like Kingdom Come Deliverance was, because I would hate to see them falter if they don't quite reach that 58,000. They have 26 days to go. It's a huge, long campaign. So I don't know if it'll go up or if it'll go down, right? It just kind of depends, because there's a lot of cool stuff coming up, which we will be showing soon. Temple of Horrors 2.0 is doing better than it did before, but there's a catch. It's at 28,000 out of a 9,748 goal, so it has passed its goal technically. However, if you recall, this is a 2.0, this is a relaunch. The previous goal was 38,992. Now, I don't know all the changes they did to somehow not need as much. With 9,000, that's a local print thing, right? That's a small scale thing. So if it's possible to do it at that little bit, I don't know what their actual plans are for something like that, or if it's just a lower thing anyway, and they still need that 38. If they still need 38, they're still 10,000 off. So just keep that in mind. 327 backers though, 13 days left, and they have some really good, they have a lot of rewards. First of all, like because it's doubled up with the early bird, right? So you have the all in early and then the all in, but $146, even $155 for an all in ain't that bad. They do struggle on their miniature renders still though. Everything else, I think they actually improved quite a bit, and it looks like a fun, neat little dungeon crawl to me. I think that's super cool. This little flicking system, to get the, I like that people are just doing different stuff. Though, I mean, again, I couldn't play with my kids. They just flick it right off the board. We'd never see it again. It'd be lost forever. The cat would eat it or something. Do whatever. And I love the fact that I have this measuring tool pretty much. So it's cool. They're showing how thick stuff is and whatnot. But yeah, they're miniatures. I mean, just again, it's so washed out. The contrast is so high in the highlight portion of it. There's no texture added to them. Very kind of bare bones render on like the base and stuff. So just, yeah, the presentation can still use a little bit of improvement, but much improved from what it was the first time, for sure. Dungeon Universalis, new challenges, expansion, and reprint, 272,000. 5 days still to go, and honestly, well earned. They've been working really hard just to make this awesome little game. And when I say little, I mean the opposite. It's a massive game, and you can get it for $84. 84 bucks. That ain't too bad. You get a ton of stuff though. A ton of cards, a ton of tiles, a ton. metric ton of standees. We're talking like over 100. Like there's a ridiculous amount in this campaign of standees. This one right here, this $20 package adds 288 standees. This is a lifestyle game. This is a game that you can dive into and immerse yourself into for months and months and months as a dungeon crawl. And I think that's super cool. And it's definitely an old school dungeon crawl. Game Brigade, actually, friend of the channel, I'll link down to his video. He did a very good overview of it, talked about kind of the differences, the uniqueness, gave examples like opening doors, stuff like that. It's a very good video, shorter video than what I make. So highly recommended watching that. Fateforge, Chronicles of Kaan, 122,000, almost 123,000. Oh, okay, we were close. 1,433 backers, still 10 days to go. I've covered this a few times. It's an app-driven game. They've unlocked 2 cards, essentially, as stretch goals, so it's definitely slowed down a little bit. There is a mystery stretch goal coming up. We'll kind of see what that's like, see where we're at there. But if you're in the market for an app-driven game like this, where it has like a lot of story and whatnot, then this might be something that you're interested in. There's another thing coming up that I want to show you as well. All right, and then this is actually a 3D print stuff. A big shout out to GameWare Create, another sponsor of the channel. I always link down to them below too. They could print this out for you. You don't even need a 3D printer. Looks amazing though. $10 is all you need, and it's a super freaking sweet Manticore. Look at this thing. Looks awesome. It also has an adorable cub. And I mean adorable. You can get it with a rider, so you can, have it like mounted or not, essentially. And again, that cub is freaking cute. Oh my lord, that is adorable. I love it. I like it's like, so yeah, $10, guys. Why not? Again, you can get it printed. GameWare Create will print it for you. Okay, Blacklist Games. I covered this before, but before we get into what's coming up, which is right after this, I just wanted to comment on this. So they sold their rights to this game to Colossal Games, which will be able to do that, and they put half of those funds to delivering their previous campaigns. Now, we're still waiting on an update for that as far as I can tell, so I'll cover that when that happens. They said they would have an update with more information. That being said, I like to see them keep doing it. I mean, at this point, you just need to deliver. You can worry about making new IP, worry about getting new games out the door once you get these out the door. But you gotta have some kind of funds coming in, right? And so anything you can sell, start selling. Like just get, even if you gotta start over. I know it's hard to sell the stuff that you've worked on and so hard on and do stuff like that, but if you can find a buyer, I highly recommend you keep doing that. Werewolf: The Apocalypse Retaliation. This is by Flyos Games. It's set in the world of darkness. It has wolves, so I am excited. However, just as a note, they are still working on this Vampire the Masquerade chapters. They've done this Survive Until Daylight, and now they're also announcing this one. I actually showed this off a while ago, actually. They had the trailer back when it was going to be early 2022. So I showed this off like last year. But it's coming up again, even more, November 15th, 2022. So definitely coming up. Here's a kind of quick look at some of the miniatures and stuff. You have mostly werewolves, some wolves, and some people, kind of what they're showing here, but not super miniature heavy from the looks of it. 1 to 4 player game takes place in there. You do a full lunar cycle, blah blah blah. Deep role playing experience, kind of the normal stuff, right? Immersive branching scenarios, intense combats, memorizing investigations. Honestly, all just typical stuff. So I'll be interested to see what's unique about this versus the other games where I do those exact same things, except this one does have wolves. So there is that, and that's definitely a good thing. All right, next up we have Oathsworn Into the Deepwood 2nd edition coming out October 18th. That's very soon, guys. Believe it or not, October 18th is not very far off. Over 10,000 people are waiting for this. 9.3 on Board Game Geek. It got that seal of excellence from the Dice Tower. That secret box free day one is worth it. It is actually super cool. One of the coolest little extras I've gotten in a campaign. Was very happy with that. So it'll be very cool to see what this entails, the full spectrum of it. I have a chat with Jamie here soon, and if there's anything that needs to come out of that you guys need to know about, I'll let you guys know about it, of course. All right, next up, we also have Destinies Witchwood coming out the exact same day, October 18th. Now, this is another expansion to their Destinies line. This used to be Time of Legends Destiny, which means it's those little minis. I think they're 20 millimeters. I think is what they claim. Some bigger, some smaller. So just note that these people are like that. They're like that big. very, very small, but it also means a little bit of a smaller package. It is app driven, and then it is very much a Slavic style thing, which is why you have like the house that'll eat you and stuff like that, and witches and whatever. But they do have that companion app that is required, by the way. So just as an FYI, if you're against apps, don't even bother looking. If you're all for apps or you want to try it out, Destinies, I heard, was actually quite good, and yeah, there's more coming out. So this is by Lucky Duck Games. All right, next up we have the Thinning Veil. Too many THs there. This looks super cool. It's by Triskelion Games. 1 to 4 player, solo and co-op, playing a world of fantasy horror inspired by the Celtic myths. Love it. Yes, please. This Samhain, I don't know what that is, but I'm sure others do. Devils and the Restless Dead plan to stay. Bum, bum, bum. We're going to get a closer look at this, but look at the art on that. That is a great freaking looking box. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into this. This is their Facebook, and it, as you can see, hasn't been around that long. I think their earliest post here is May 26th. Okay, so very new. This is kind of their first thing here. Here's like the art style you're kind of going to see, but the like shots of like the world look really good. This is Triskelion Games and Friends. I don't know if it's just the people not wearing the shirt of Friends. If it's everybody in here is part of the team, this is already a company with quite a bit of staff. I don't know how full time they are on that, but that's pretty crazy. Otherwise, I think for a brand new company, again, some of the monsters look super cool. These characters, I think, are actually, it's kind of funny because like, here's the art, and then here is the miniature. I think the miniatures look better than the art. In a lot of ways. I love his freaking like braided mustache. I think that's freaking sweet. And they're already putting that fairly thick, right? So I think they're definitely putting it smart. This is a single cast, right? So it's flat, so it won't cost them a whole bunch of money to have to do. Same with this, right? You can do this all in kind of one cast. So I think they're being smart about it, especially for a first time. But look at, guys, I don't know about you, but I want all of that. Like that draws me in. I love this style. I think it looks great. Look at this guy here. He looks super cool. They're still working on bases, figuring out what bases are right when it comes to size and just how custom they are. But that guy's looking super cool. So just overall, I think a very cool looking game. I would love to learn more about it, and I hope to soon. I'll share it with you guys. Let's go ahead and dive into the Heroes of Might and Magic 3, the board game. Guys, if you didn't know, I take what I do here fairly seriously, especially when it comes to criticism. And by that I mean I like to kind of try and know what I'm talking about. So when Elden Ring was announced and I hadn't bought Elden Ring yet, I bought Elden Ring. Thank you to my patrons and stuff like that for helping support the channel so I can do the proper research, so that if I say, hey, I don't feel like this is Elden Ring, or I feel this is Elden Ring to a T or whatever, I know what I'm talking about because I have experience with the video game even too, the IP it's based off of. I'm almost done reading Dune because, again, I got the book. I have a little paperweight my wife bought me, which I love. Been reading Dune on that because Kaan made a Dune game. Well, let's figure out what all this is all about. Heroes of Might and Magic 3. I've been playing that lately, so I can understand the addicting part of it. We didn't have a computer that could have done this, so the gaming was not a thing for me at that time, at least not on PC. So you had what you had. This is back before we all had walking around with phones that could do more than this. But anyway, been playing that, so I'll let you guys know kind of how I feel as I get hands-on with this. They'll be sending me a copy here soon, so I can let you guys know exactly how I feel with this. Let's go ahead and dive in, though. November 2022. This is by Archon Studio. They have an official live unboxing, but obviously it won't be as detailed as the one I'll provide, so, whatever. Okay, so this is kind of interesting how they're breaking it up, though, because they're definitely changing some things up. So this is very nice that they, right off the bat, why it's so awesome. First of all, great wording there. A Witch World Explorer talks about the fog of war, right, as you go exploring around, right? Typical stuff there as you're going through your days and weeks and whatnot. 5 towns to choose from, and those towns you can upgrade and recruit from, just like in the video game, which is great. They have, by the way, even the expansions. So when I bought up the complete editions, that's good. By the way, guys, if you want to play it again, it's $250 on GOG on GOG.com right now. So I'll link down to that below. $250. Come on. So here's how the player cards, I like how it's reminiscent of the UI of the game when it comes to the little boxes, right? And then even the symbology and stuff like that is super cool. But it's very much like card based, right? You see the wording down here as you're able to do different things with your dreadnoughts and whatnot, but then it has those miniatures as well. So priority and delivery, it says you will get it before retails, no questions asked is what it says there. They will have exclusive content. Hopefully it's very specific on what it is. And of course, if 750 people of your language back it, then it gets translated, which is nice. Okay, Kaan only does English now, right? So it's nice for a company to do that. And these minis are quite big too. We'll talk about that a little bit as well. So here it talks about choosing your faction and exploring the map and upgrading your town. There's your town there. It looks like it lays down. I don't think it's actually up, but it looks like it's almost faced up. And then I think you can upgrade by laying cards on top of it or whatever as you build it out. Or you just add the card and then you can flip it over to see what it does. Maybe that's what it is. But you have your different resources that you're using. So you have the gold and the ore and whatnot as you capture points on the map. And then you can manage your town, so you can upgrade it. You can get more people. Your characters can improve. You can build your heroes so they can level up again, just like the game, and get these new abilities. They do have cards and minis, and they're represented in both. This is kind of the interesting thing. So this is kind of one of the maps here, and notice it shows cards and minis. You can have kind of both, and it doesn't show this way all the time. So right here, as you can see, you can have it as just cards. In other words, you can get this game and not use the minis so much, right? You still have like your like main person, but I don't even know like how useful that is. But then otherwise, you can put the cards on the side and use the mini to represent it, but you still need the card because it has all the information, right? Because you don't have information on the mini. So, or you can just opt out of that and just use the cards. This is kind of interesting to me because as much as I love miniatures, and I do love miniatures, it sounds like it'd be easier to play with the cards. I mean, you're just moving the cards around, it has all the information there, instead of like trying to find it and, from the side and then using these minis, which you don't necessarily need, though maybe it adds a lot to the experience and it just feels so much better with it. I don't know. There's more on the battlefield. That's not the only thing here. So we'll cover that in a moment here. They're called the Azure pledges. It just means ones with minis. So just as an FYI on that when you see that, it just means minis. When you get the minis, you get the 20 map tiles, you get 6 hero minis. And by the way, these look great. They're around 40 millimeter in height, by the way, too, so they're quite large. It looks like they're all mounted probably as well. 7 castle models, 7 dungeon models, 7 necropolis models, so you get 3 factions there. And then, of course, the hero cards and unit cards and abilities and artifacts, spells, all of the stuff that you could kind of possibly need. Even AI hero cards, so that's nice too. Plus, of course, tokens that you can get different things with, and then some other stuff for combat boards, and then a rulebook, a mission book, some dice, a whole bunch of cubes, right, whatnot. Okay, so expansions, more factions. You got Rampart here, again, 9 models, 4 more map tiles, X amount of cards. We'll see how that is in one mission book. So they come with new missions where you can use them. Fortress expansions, you get the fortress people as well. And then the battlefield expansion, this is interesting. It talks about for people who are like die-hard strategy people, use your miniatures on a special hex-based board and prove you are the best commander. I wonder if this is kind of like what they did with Masters of the Universe, where they made the battlefield battleground I have it up there kind of version of it that's now suddenly hex based and you can kind of fight. I don't know how it's just going to be a much more like, because I mean, as cool as those cards are, that's not exactly how the game plays, right? And so maybe this is closer to how the game plays. I don't know. It reminds me a little bit of Rome Total War. They did the same thing where they like had like an expansion to do battles more. I don't know how I feel about that. It's kind of interesting. Hex based, I'm assuming, means it needs the miniatures. Otherwise your cards aren't going to fit on there very well. Basic pledge though, $75 thereabout nowadays, right? For basic, that's core box plus stretch goals. And again, that's not the Azure. The Azure is 120 or just about, but the Grail, notice it's not the all-in, but the Grail is 170. That is with the 3 big expansions. Hopefully that's about it. Hopefully that's pretty close to the all-in. They do have a collector thing that just adds on art book and limited posters for another $40, or $30, I guess, really. But 170 for the all-in, honestly. For what you're getting, it looks pretty nice, but again, we will see. They are going to be adding more miniatures and stuff like that. And again, that Azure branding, which means the miniatures are only there for that. I'm assuming you would get the card version otherwise, I'm assuming, but it's not too obvious here, at least not yet. And guys, really, that's it. That is pretty much my update in a nutshell. There you go. There's your information on what I am looking forward to. If there's something I missed or something you're looking forward to that I haven't covered yet or that I need to look into, let me know in the comments below, of course. Guys, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Be sure to check out that Into the AM link and all the other links I have in the description down below. With that, take care. Bye, guys.